All right, Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Let's do this. EMF and EMR, electromagnetic frequency, electromagnetic radiation, becoming more and more of a big problem in Europe, the United States, and other countries. 5G should be outlawed. It's not being in there shoving down his throat, but there are some fighting back.
And if you can even just start with painting your bedroom, so it means you got to paint this black stuff in your bedroom, and then you just do like whatever color you want over top of that. But it's doable, and like, you know, there is something you can do to stop this like absolute onslaught. And so for me, I'm just a proactive person, and I don't want to just sit by and complain about the system and the state and all these corporations that have the ability just to railroad us without any accountability. I'm just like, what can I do now? And so that's what this is.
Mm-hmm. Well, as people I'm sure are going to obviously notice, you got quite the front yard garden going on.
The other question is, what is it going to do with plants and plant production and nutrients and other things?
Our mesh up underneath the roof, the solar inverters, which do produce a...
So you've got to have a mesh on the roof, and you've got to have a window covering too. Not cheap.
A little bit of frequency, there'll be nothing at that point.
You have a good understanding of what's being laid down on the house right now. So why don't you start by just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about how you got involved in researching this whole field.
Okay, well, I started doing this work in electromagnetic radiation with my patients when I was a practicing naturopath in Ontario, which was for 30 years. And a number of patients who weren't responding to normal naturopathic care, it turns out had electromagnetic issues in their homes. So I started studying that particular discipline, which was just barely in North America. It was coming out of Europe. Germany was the main thrust of knowledge in sick buildings and electromagnetic radiation, and so I started studying it. I got some now archaic and antique meters and started going into patients' homes if they were having challenges and doing very simple things at the time, having them move to a different bedroom was one of the things that we had a few people do. I had people sell their house and move because the electromagnetic radiation in their home was so severe coming from power lines and things like that that they had to move. And once they had done that, their health improved dramatically, and I didn't need to work with them. The problem was electromagnetic. It wasn't toxic or an infection or something that else that I would have looked after in my office. So a number of years ago, I moved to the Okanagan Valley and started up safe zone electromagnetic radiation inspections, and I've been doing that for a number of years now. Very sophisticated, very expensive equipment, which allows the client to see what they're being exposed to from things that they didn't even know produced wireless radiation. Wireless radiation comes in many forms. Most people know about the wireless that comes off of their smartphone, but they don't know about wireless that comes out of the wires in the walls of their house that can have a dramatic effect on them adversely. So consequently, here I am.
So it was it was the health issue that brought you into it because you noticed people having health concerns with it.
Absolutely.
Is there there must be varying levels of sensitivity in people, and I guess it depends also on the proximity of how close they are to these towers?
The really important words in this discipline are proximity and cumulative. We tend to think that the radiating device. Most people know that if you hold your smartphone up to your head, it's going to have a dramatic effect on you if you do it long enough over a period of years. If you hold it out here on speakerphone, it has a significantly less powerful radiation because it diminishes dramatically with distance. So it's the same way with any other form of electromagnetic radiation. The closer you are to the source, the stronger it is because it dissipates with distance. The other word is cumulative, meaning the effects accumulate over a period of time. A smartphone isn't going to give you brain cancer in a year or a month. The really, really solid research shows that it takes 10 years of use before you are severely at risk, and your chances are fairly high for having something happen.
Well, I think it can be argumented now that it has been proven that these devices and these types of waves can have an adverse health effect, can be bad for people's health. So that seems clear. Now they're talking about bringing on this 5G, and this is like a whole new level of new types of waves, really. So maybe we can get into a little bit of that. Tell us, what do you know about 5G and some of the concerns that you have with it?
Well, strangely enough, 5G is not new. The frequencies involved in 5G, called millimeter frequencies, extremely short frequencies and very high frequencies in the many, many gigahertz range. These frequencies were used in military warfare. This is what they were developed for many, many years ago. And there are a number of authors who are ex-military who are making the public aware that these frequencies are very, very dangerous, and they're going to be used en masse on our population. We now have, I think, a couple of cities in the U.S. that have activated 5G. It'll be a complete overhaul. They're going to be putting towers, every 7 or 8 houses down the street, and of course on all the existing towers, and they plan on transmitting it from satellites. I believe they've put up over 1,000 of 20,000 satellites that they expect to have orbiting the Earth that will transmit the 5G signal.
20,000 satellites. You gotta be kidding me.
The problem with the frequencies is that they haven't been tested for safety on animals or humans. And those frequencies were used in military warfare.
Right.
That's what they were initially developed for.
And I thought the job of the military is to fight an enemy.
Well, or defend against an enemy, one or the other. But crowd dispersal technology using these frequencies has been around for quite some time now and has been well tested. This is well documented on YouTube and with many, many other sources. People can do their own research. The big concern is that when they unleash, and I'm not going to say any other word, but when they unleash this on us, which is not very far off, that people who are already sensitive, and you mentioned that some people have different sensitivities, and that's absolutely true. But the more exposure we have, and that one word again, cumulative, comes in here, the more people become sensitive or hypersensitive to electromagnetic radiation. Right. And so now we have a significant percentage of the population that are suffering. A large number of those people don't know it because they don't connect the dots that it's the cell tower that's half a block away that went in 2 years ago, and they started to feel ill, and so consequently they don't connect the dots. Their doctors don't connect the dots. Yeah. So they never get that connection made so that they can actually do something about it. Right. This is what we're doing now. I mean, this house is being painted with special shielding paint because you can't see it from here, but just the other side there, you can actually see the cell tower on an apartment building not very far away. And when we did the inspection on this home, we found the readings inside the home were significant and way above what are called building biology safety standards. Building biology was the original discipline in electromagnetic radiation out of Germany. So the readings inside this house are way too high for comfort, and long-term exposure can lead to significant health challenges. So what we're doing with this house is we are shielding it.
Wow, this is amazing. A shield is a great way to put it, because you've connected the dots that this is stemming from the military. I mean, let's face it, we know that they developed things like LRAD, the long-range acoustical device that was used in Baghdad, and then they brought it over to America and used it on crowd control against protesters. So back when I was talking about these things, they just called me a conspiracy theorist. They said I was fear-mongering, these things are never going to come here. But now it seems like we're being proven right? And so now I think that's why shielding this is a great way to describe it. Now let's get into the specifics about this house a little bit more. Tell us how the paint works, how it's going to work in conjunction with the ceiling, and how it can actually 5G proof one's home.
All right, this paint is out of Germany. I have to get back to this. I'll give you the link on this. This is more important than I can say. I'll give you the full link on this. But we're in the fallout war against corporations and government and military that are doing things that they don't care what they destroy and who they destroy. They're just going to do it, ram it down our throats. Either fight back or perish. It's that simple. Roger Martin, Billings, Montana. Good day.